What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Sinister's Movie Night. And as you can see from down here below, we are doing Man of Steel tonight from 2013. Zack Snyder's fantastic vision of Superman. And as always, I'm your host, Sinister Alec Miller, and I'm joined by my main man, the hitman Hunter Chambliss. What's up, man?
How's it going, brother? Yeah, we are talking about Man of Steel, one of my favorite comic book movies. So this can be fun.
Yeah, I agree. The second rewatching it, I was actually thinking the same thing. Like, this might be my top 10, if not 5, comic book movies, because I really do enjoy this movie. But without further ado, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into the rundown.
Damn.
All right, so the movie starts out on Krypton. So we start out on Krypton. I love this. I love this scene so much. You get to see how a different interpretation of Krypton, and I think a much better one from the other ones that we've seen, with more just more lively than the other.
And also, sorry, go ahead.
I would say, like, than the other drab, like, kind of like lifeless Kryptons that we've seen in the past, whether it be Smallville or the original Superman, you know?
Yeah, but you also get to spend more time on Krypton, which I love. I think like the first 30 minutes of the movie is on Krypton, and you get intrigued by this world.
Yeah, so you get to find out right away that the planet is dying. Zod is attempting a coup that, and actually it's kind of interesting because Russell Crowe's Jor-El, I'm thinking of Jor-El, didn't really do anything to oppose Zod in this scene. He kind of was just like, I'm just got to get my family and get out of here, which is an interesting take. I just thought of that right now. Like, that was actually kind of interesting. That he really, like, defend the leaders. He goes to Laura, who is giving birth to Kal-El, and everything happens. Zod kills Jor-El, but before that, Kal-El was able to get away on the spaceship and head to Earth. Lara and Jor-El saving Kal-El, as we all know. We all know this story. Yeah. The government basically comes in. They end up stopping Zod. They send him to the Phantom Zone, and then boom, we fast forward to Earth. We're on Earth. The kids have. We start off on Earth, and we're seeing much older Superman, which Kal-El, which we find out has been 33 years. He's been on Earth 33 years. He's about 33 years old. Still hasn't come out to the world of Superman. He's actually searching for his home, well, the remnants of his home. And while doing that, we see a few things, a few flashbacks. You get the first flashback, I believe, is him in school.
Yeah.
So it's the first one. He's in school.
Which is a great scene.
Yes, and I love this scene. I was surprised how much this scene, like, actually brought me, like, kind of made me a little emotional.
And it's literally because it's a young boy really experiencing his powers for the first time. And he even has that line of, "The world is too big, Mom."
Yes, and I love that. I love that line. That's the line that actually kind of got me. Was he like, the world is too big, and as a good mother does, just tells him, make it small. I don't know why the line's always just kind of stuck with me, but it just always has. From even the trailer, I love that line from the trailer. So Diane Lane is great as Martha Kent in this movie. So she ends up helping him. She tells him, there's an island. My voice is an island. Swim to it. And that's how he ends up honing in his powers and able to help see what he only wants to see. As he explains later on in the film to Zod, he's able to focus on whatever he wants to focus in that moment.
Yeah.
So then we cut to him on a ship, on the ship, and they're going towards there's a rig on fire. Some people are in trouble, and as typical Clark Kent fashion, he doesn't hesitate, goes to help the people in our first big Superman scene.
And of course, Henry Cavill has to show off his massive pecs. It made me feel like a loser.
Yeah, that's hard to do. That's something that I had to deal with. Sitting here watching it with my girlfriend, she's just constantly talking about Henry Cavill. I'm like, I got it. Yes, I understand. But the scene where he actually like breaks open the door and he's covered in flames is a really cool scene. You really do see that this man is invincible, with just like fires all over him. Even I did have one question: why wasn't his hair burning? He's a very hairy man. Wouldn't the hair burn?
And that hair must have a lot of fucking hairspray.
It has to. It never moves. It
never moves.
But so he saves the men, but in the midst of that, he falls into the ocean. Is like kind of knocked out, and that's after that scene happens. Then the whales come and save him.
Yeah, and then we have a scene of a flashback with him at the bar, which is a funny ass scene.
Oh yeah, the when he's super petty. Yeah, Superman gets to be petty, and that I think that's remnant of. I'm pretty sure I saw a scene like that in. I've seen parts of Superman 2. I believe that might be a scene from like a little homage to Superman 2.
Nice,
but if I'm not mistaken, at least the bar scene.
Yeah, I love how like the guy just keeps fucking with him, and he could just blow his head off immediately if he wanted to. He walks out,
without a doubt.
And then I loved this cut because it's literally like, oh, he's not going to do anything, and then he walks out, and his truck is in like a fucking, it's like a teepee almost.
Yeah, like, teepee of light poles.
Yeah, light poles through his truck, and you're just like, yes, I would do that too.
Absolutely. I mean, that just shows you he's human. He might be a Kryptonian, but he's also human. He's got human emotions. Yep. He can get mad. He can get petty, but he doesn't take it out on their bodies. He would just, destroy your stuff.
Yep.
Then I believe we get another flashback, one more flashback before we get to him discovering the ship or the remnants of the Kryptonian outpost.
I think it's just the Paul Kent flashback, right?
No, this is the one in the bus.
That's right. Yeah.
You meet Pete
with Lana Lang, which I did not realize. Lana Lang.
Yeah, we got Pete Ross and Lana Lang. Two very different. If you're a Smallville fan, two very different iterations, interpretations of these characters. I'm starting
Smallville very soon, so.
Dude, do it. It's great. It's definitely great. It drags a little bit in that 10th season, but by that time you're already in love with the show, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We get Pete. Pete's kind of bullying Clark. He keeps it quiet. Lana defends him, but then they get into a wreck. The bus goes off the bridge into the water. Everyone's drowning, and Clark saves them without anybody noticing. He saves them. Somebody does notice. He pushes it up, and Lana looks out, sees Clark. I first thought he was like swimming away. When he left, I was like, oh, he's swimming to escape. That's kind of suspicious. But then he pulls up Pete Ross and saves his life, basically forever gaining the respect of Pete.
And also scares the fuck out of every kid on that bus.
Yeah, basically. And then we cut to the scene where he finds out where he comes from. Not where he comes from, but that he's not of Earth.
There's a line he talks to his dad. That Pa Kent says that a lot of people have problems with. I don't know why. When he goes, when Clark asked him, what was I supposed to do? Just let them die? And Pa Kent says, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, and I can see why people have a problem with it. I don't, because in my mind, he's not looking at it from any other parent's perspective. He's not trying to. Pa Kent is not the shining example of good. He's not just a good person. He might be a good person, but that's not his only character trait. His entire being, his entire purpose is to protect Clark. Mm-hmm. And if that means that, in his mind, other kids have to unfortunately die in an accident, then that's the case. However, he doesn't. I don't believe that he's 100% okay with the kids dying. I don't think he wanted Clark to let the kids die. I think he's just in that moment. He's being a scared parent.
And also, he literally doesn't have the answers.
Exactly. He's not.
He's not going to have all the answers. Parents don't always have the answers.
Exactly, and as a parent, I know this. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. We say things that we definitely don't mean sometimes. It's a character trait that I like that Zack Snyder put in there. He's not just the shining example of what a parent should be. He is flawed, and that's okay.
He's not Paul Kent from the first Superman movie. And
no,
I love
he's not.
it, but this one shows that there's layers. There's depth,
yeah.
and we'll actually get that in his death scene. Which, spoiler alert, I like this death scene better than Paul Kent's death scene in the original Superman.
Ooh.
And I will explain why. And please don't crucify me yet.
No, I'll disagree, but I won't. I'll disagree with you, but I won't crucify you. So, and we get to see that we see Clark learn the truth of not where he comes from, but just the fact that he's not of this earth. And he does, and you have that emotional scene where he says, so, like, I think he said, like, so you're pretending to be my parents, or I don't want to pretend to be your son.
Like, he goes, I just want to keep pretending I'm your son. And he goes, you are my son.
And that scene, man, like, that's, because that shows, like, you know, the Kents do care about him deeply. And you also get that later on whenever Clark tells Martha that he found where he comes from. You see that also in Martha too.
He seems kind of hurt in that scene.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it's tough. I can only assume. I'm not adopted. Never dealt with any kind of adoption, but I can only assume that, like, that's got to be a hard thing. Is like telling your child that they're adopted, and how confusing that has to be for a kid. That's got to be incredibly confusing for a child. Like, your mind, everything you believed is gone in one little moment, and you have this whole other history you didn't know. I mean, that's gotta be tough. And then being an alien can only be even harder.
Oh yeah.
So now we cut to our first appearance of Lois Lane. She's helping the government, because they're in Canada actually. She's helping the government track down this kind of thing that's kind of lodged in the ice. They're looking for it. It's been logged to be there for about 18,000 years.
So spoiler, it's not the Avatar. It's not Aang.
No, it's not. It's not. He's not in ice. It is the ship that we get to see. The Kryptonian technology. The Kryptonian technology in the show is really cool. I forgot what he calls it on Krypton, but he calls it something. I know the key is called the command key. The little thing that he's given that Pa Kent gives to him. Mm-hmm. So Clark finds that, but at the same time, so does Lois. And so, like, kind of as Clark's learning about this, Lois kind of intervenes, and she gets hit by the little guardian type machine that's there. Hits her with the tentacles. It puts her out. Clark destroys it, and she's introduced to Kal-El, and she has to have what a way to meet somebody that they got to basically cauterize your wound. That's the first time you get to meet them.
Yeah. So he's just like, hey, man, I have to save you. Laser eyes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, now I was telling my girlfriend that's got to be, like, incredibly painful. Just you got to have someone cauterize your wound with no sedation.
Extreme heat. Just right on the wound. Like,
no sedative, no nothing. Just she didn't even get a towel to bite on when it started hurting. She just had to deal with it. But that's Lois Lane in this iteration. She's a badass. She's tough as hell. So she gets back. She starts writing the article. Perry will not okay this article going out. She gives it to
it's Perry White. Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. She instead of letting the article go away, she gives it to an online guy who seems to be like kind of a blogger, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Woodburn. She gives it to him. He posts it. She's in a world of shit after it. And shortly after that, she finds Clark. She's able to find where he is, tracks him down. This is how good of a journalist she is. She tracks him down all the way to Martha in Smallville. And they meet, I guess officially they meet at the grave of Jonathan Kent. And that's where we get your scene, is the death of Jonathan Kent, which is so tough to watch, man. And I understand people's issues with it, but then at the same time, I understand why that scene, and we'll get into it more when we talk about favorite scenes, but I can understand, like, people's hesitations with that scene, for sure.
The only thing I will say, and I might as well talk about it here real quick, while we're on it, is the reason I love this scene so much over the original. The original had the idea of a heart attack, which is completely... It's good because it's something that Clark couldn't do.
Yeah.
He couldn't prevent. The reason why I like the Man of Steel one, though, better is because Clark could have done something about it and chose to honor his father's last wish as to, no, protect your identity, live a normal life, and let me die, but you can have a life. That's the ultimate sacrifice for a parent.
Yeah, for sure. And I 100% can see why people like it and why people don't. There's pros and cons to it. And then she goes back, says she's not going to run the story. Perry's mad at her, but then he's like, I get it. Then we get the broadcast. We get the view of Zod's ship and the broadcast that he sends worldwide in every single language, basically saying, give us the Kryptonian. Yeah, and basically he's telling them, give us the Kryptonian, we'll leave you alone. He's basically giving an olive branch. And I love this scene when he's in the church talking to the priest. When he's telling him, how do I trust Zod, but I can't trust Zod, but I also can't 100% trust humanity. And the priest tells him sometimes it starts with a leap of faith, then the trust comes, and that's what Superman decides to do. He decides to say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and trust humanity. I'm going to believe that they can handle what I am, and of course they don't at first. They bring him in handcuffs. They give him immediately to Zod. Zod and Superman goes up to the ship, meets Zod face to face for the first time. Get to see the repercussions of him living on Earth for so long. He can't handle Krypton's. Yeah, he can't handle Krypton's atmosphere. And we also get to see Lois Lane meet Jor-El, meet her future father-in-law, I guess.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool. Like Russell Crowe's part in this movie is really cool. He's kind of like the teacher, but he's in like a magical teacher or wizard or something, where he's just basically like that scene where they're going through the ship is really cool. Yeah, it's really
by the way, together. Clark has the two greatest dads of all time. It's Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe. Like, come on,
for sure. Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. And then Jor-El helps them get off the ship, and they basically get ready to fight because two people, Feora, and I don't remember the big guy's name. I don't even think they ever say it.
I don't think they ever say it. They could have. I could be wrong.
Goon number 1, we'll say. Goon number 1 and Feora. They go down and attack Smallville, and Zod is attacking Martha. He's going after Martha because he's looking for the Codex. He's looking for basically everything that Krypton has to. And that's where he
fucks up.
Yes, 100%. Like that, and we've seen, you mess with Martha, that's it. So Superman is able to get there in time. He hurts Zod to the point where it messes up his breathing apparatus, and that's why we don't get the big fight between Zod yet. Instead, he has to fight Goon number 1 and Feora.
I love this scene when he breaks his mask, because that shows that Zod isn't used to Earth's atmosphere. So he's going to have all the same things that young Clark had that he didn't develop.
Yeah, he didn't have the support system that he had. But we'll see later on in the fight. He does master a lot faster than Clark did. And there's the reason, because he is a military man. He was basically bred to be able to harness his senses and stuff like that. So that's how they explain that. The fight in Smallville is crazy. There's so much destruction in this little town. The little town's gone. And I told my girlfriend, that's a rough first day on the job. That's Clark's first day on the job, and that's a rough way to start. He doesn't get to start by saving a cat or saving a person. He's got to straight up fight some aliens from his home world, and they're soldiers and he's not. And that's why there's so much destruction in this film. I know that's one of the biggest complaints about this movie is the destruction, but it's like people don't understand context.
Yeah.
They just know what they want.
My guy's name it's Toran.
Toran, okay. I'm going to remember that. I'm pretty sure that'll come up in a geek trivia one day.
There you go.
So we get to fight. Feora ends up getting taken out too by the giant. By the blast, by the missile blast that Christopher Maloney's character calls in. Christopher Maloney is really great in this movie too, as the Colonel. I don't remember his last name, but I know it's Colonel something. Just go ahead and look that up for me real quick.
IMDb already up.
All right. Yeah, he's great in this movie too. I like
Nathan Hardy.
Nathan Hardy. He's probably like my sleeper character of the movie, like someone that like their secret weapon type character, because I think he's really good. So then we're waiting to see what happens. They send the world engine, which we find out is going to terraform Earth, basically destroy Earth. But Jor-El gave Lois Lane a way to send the Kryptonians back to the Phantom Zone. But before they do that, Superman has to take out the world engine, and we get what I think is a tease of Brainiac. There has to be a tease for Brainiac.
Yeah, because
you know what I'm talking about.
They did call it a school ship.
Yes, and because whenever he jumps up, when he flies up and flies through it, before it explodes, you see the 3 dots, that the 3 circles connected with the lines. That is Brainiac's symbol. I don't know if you ever caught that. I remember catching that. I remember like when this movie first came out, I was looking at every single article, every single Easter egg.
I didn't even get that.
Yes, there was that one. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the picture of that real quick. That's a really cool thing, and that's why I wish we would have gotten. That's why I really wish we would have gotten Man of Steel 2, because I think Zack Snyder has some good stuff up his sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. So look, here's the. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. All right, real quick. Share the screen. Let's go. Chrome tab. This one. Yeah. Look at that. You got the dots. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. That to me. That's Brainiac. It might not be. They might not be that. That might not have been their intention, but that's what I got.
That is a very cool pull. I didn't even notice that to begin with.
Yeah, the other one is during the Zod fight. Whenever we get the Wayne Enterprises thing, the Wayne Enterprises satellite. That was like another little Easter egg. Also, Ferris, the woman soldier at the very end. Her last name is Ferris. That's there with I think he's there with General Swan. She's there with General Swanwick. She's the one that says I think he's kind of hot. That's her last name is Ferris.
So Ferris Airlines, aka
Ferris
Green Lantern.
Airlines, aka Green Lantern.
Nice.
They were world building in this. For sure. So after that, we get the big fight because they're able to send Feora and the rest of the Kryptonians to the Phantom Zone, and the only one that's left is Zod. And this fight is insane. Like they go at it, and
they fuck up this city.
They go all the way to space. Like, let's just say that. Right? They literally go all the way into space, mess up the Wayne Enterprises satellite, get back down to Earth, and they're in this. It looks like a station, like a train station or some kind of
a train station. Yeah.
They're in the train station. Superman is on his back, and Zod comes up with the idea because Zod tells him, like, you took my soul. You didn't just take like my people. You took everything that I live for, which I think is a very important line when we talk about Zod and why he's such a great character. I think personally.
I do too.
He brings out his heat vision, is about to kill his family, and the key lines here.
Good.
The key line is when Superman tells him, "Please stop."
Please stop.
And Zod says never. That's the key, I think, when we talk about that scene, which we will talk in a very quick minute. He snaps Zod's neck.
And a lot of people had problems with this. I don't know why. It was handled very well.
Yeah, we'll get to it when we talk favorite scenes, because this one's my favorite scene. So we get the next snap, the most blood curdling scream that I've heard from probably one of my Tin shows him emotion in the movie. And we fast forward after that, he embraces with Lois, they leave, and you get the general driving with Ferris, and a drone comes down right in their path, and General Swanwick says, "Dude, that was $12 million. Like, what are you doing?" And Superman told him, I know you're trying to find out where I hide my cape. You're not going to find out, so please stop. Like, basically, like, give me my privacy. I am not going to destroy humanity. You get the line from Swanwick saying, "How do we know you won't turn against us?" And I love Superman's retort. He's like, "I'm from Kansas, dude. Like, I'm as American as it gets. Like, there's nothing. Yep. I'm not going to do anything." And you believe him. You do believe him 100%. Unless they go Injustice. They go Injustice storyline, but that'll never happen. They'll never do that.
I mean, they kind of teased it already.
DC doesn't. They don't have the balls to do it. They don't have it. They don't have the balls to do it. I'll say it. That storyline is so deep, and there's so much stuff in it. I don't think the casual audience could handle an Injustice storyline.
Dude, but comic book fans,
we'll die.
That's what we want.
That's DC. That's DC's Endgame. I'll say it. Like, for me at least. If they did
DC's Endgame, hell yes.
Because you get everything in the Injustice. You get Green Lantern Corps, Yellow Lantern Corps. You get some Constantine thrown in there, and especially if you go to the comic books, you get some Constantine, Dr. Fate stuff. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So DC, do it. Don't be scared.
Yeah, do it.
But just wait. Let's build it out, like Marvel style. Go 10 years. Give me 10 years of movies, and then I'll be there.
23 movies, then you can do it.
Yes. Don't rush. We know what happens when you rush. You get Justice League.
And technically, they don't have to even do a cinematic universe. You can just make Injustice a one-off. Give me a great one-off story.
But we do have Flashpoint coming, which is, I never thought we were going to get a Flashpoint movie. That's kind of cool. We just got Supergirl casted.
Yep.
I don't remember her name. Yeah, so we just got her. So who knows? We never know what we'll get. So yeah, that's the movie, man. We got told we get to see Superman become a Superman. Oh, and you get the first look of Clark as Clark.
Yeah,
that's weird to say.
Which I love the fact that Lois Lane is like, yeah, I know who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not even a question. Like in the original movie, he puts on the glasses. She has no idea. He puts on the glasses. She's like, dude, you look the exact same. You're Henry Cavill just with glasses.
Yeah, and that was always kind of a critique and of the Lois Lane character. Is like she's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, but she can't discover that her boyfriend is Superman.
Yeah.
And there is that, but there's also, to me, the reason why I'm okay with it. But I do like the way they handled it with Lois Lane. This one, that she discovers him as Superman first before she learns about Clark. Is that Clark in the original does such a good job of seeming incompetent. It's not about that he puts on the glasses and people are like, "Oh, that's Clark," and then he could take. It's not like he could, like, Superman could put on glasses and they'll be like, "Oh, where'd Superman go? Why is Clark here?" It's because he does such a good job.
In the comics, it's the glasses make people see another face.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't need that. To me, it's more like Superman, Clark, or Kal-El does a great job of making himself be like, he could never be Superman. He looks like him, but not Clark. He's a clumsy nobody at Daily Planet type thing,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I think it works. But with this, it does get rid of that criticism. You can't use that criticism with this Lois Lane. This Lois Lane is smart. She's smart. She's a badass, and she just she doesn't take shit from nobody. She's not a damsel. She is 100%.
Yeah, that's what I love about her. She can handle herself.
Yeah, and you get that more in BVS, the Ultimate Cut.
Yeah, the Ultimate Cut. And again, I'm gonna get hate for this, man. DC finally had balls to kill off someone and not do a stupid time warp, like in the Superman the movie.
Yeah, well, we went off on that scene.
Yeah, we did.
Let's go ahead and get into MVP characters. And so you went first last week, so I'll go first this week. And my character is none other than Zod himself, Michael Shannon.
Yes.
I love Michael Shannon. I think Michael Shannon is probably he's one of my favorite characters, and one of my favorite character actors. I think he can disappear into a role. You don't even realize it's Michael Shannon. He can play everything. He can play the nice father that you see in Midnight Special, the loving father, and he can play the badass in this film. He can play
the abusive asshole stepfather in 8 Mile.
Yes, that's exactly where my head was going. He can play everything, man. He's a genius in this. He brings so much levity and heart to a character that probably you don't expect, really. Zod is always that kind of one-off character in Superman lore where he has his moment, but he doesn't ever really come back, at least in the iterations that I've read. Mm-hmm. He's kind of a black and white character. But here he does, he's just so... He pledges everything to his people, to the people of Krypton, and he would do anything for his planet, even if that means taking down and overthrowing his own government, which I know seems like a bad thing, but I mean, in reality, like, he was right. There's a reason Jor-El didn't really stop him from overthrowing the government, is because he knew that government was going to run them into the ground, which is exactly what they did. They destroyed the planet. And Zod knew from the beginning that was going to happen, and he fought tooth and nail. And here, even though he's completely misguided in his what is it? His means to an end, right?
His means to, yeah.
He justifies the means justify the end. I mean, the end justify the means. By any way, he's trying to bring his people back, even if that means destroying an entire planet. And getting and taking it over for himself. He's just trying to find his home and find his purpose. His purpose from the minute he was born, he was literally engineered to be a soldier and to fight for his country. Mm-hmm. And he can't fight however many years old he is it's the actual genetic makeup of who he is as a person, as a character. And you get that, but then you get the heartbreak when he does lose everything. When Krypton is no more 100%, mm-hmm. where it's him and Cal. That's all he has. And when he reaches into the ashes of the I believe it's the Genesis Chamber, and he shows Clark and he tells him, like, you took my soul. You didn't, like, and that's him saying, like, you don't know what you just did. Like, I have nothing to live for now. Now my entire purpose will be to make your life miserable. Yeah, to make your life miserable. Because even he, at the end in that scene, he's not talking about killing Cal. He's talking about, I'm just gonna kill these people one by one.
Yeah.
And he tells them, like, if you love them so much, you can mourn for each one's death. And in that scene, which we'll talk about soon, like, you feel that 100%. Yeah.
I will say this. What's great about Zod is what was great about Thanos in Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Thanos' whole idea, I'm going to erase half of the population because the world is overpopulated. Mm-hmm. I want to help the humanity by getting rid of half of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zod wants to protect his home planet, wants to bring back his people, because his people and the government destroyed his home planet, destroyed his family, destroyed his brothers, destroyed his friends, his family, and he wants to bring that back. Yes, he's killing a lot of people to do it, but in his mind, he's correct. Just like in Thanos' mind, he was correct.
Yeah, and a lot of what Thanos's his motivation comes from his people didn't have the will and the will to do what was necessary at his home planet. So even though he has these stones that can do anything, because his people didn't have the will to take out half the population, he believes in his mind, I'm going to show that I have what it takes. I can do this. Even though he could create more resources, I've seen that argument. He could create more resources, but it's not about that for Thanos. And with Zod's the same thing. he could share the planet with the people of Earth, but that's not what he stands for. He doesn't stand for sharing anything. Because how does he know that how does he know that people of Earth won't make the exact same mistakes that the people of Krypton did? So he's all about, you know what? No, I'm not going to make the same mistakes that my predecessors made. I'm going to make sure that this world is run the right way. And it might not be the right way for Earthlings, but in Fiora says it best, they don't have any kind of connection to this world, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. And you see that in Michael Shannon, and you see where he comes from as a character. And I think if you got any other actor, I don't know if you can get that kind of. Zod might be another forgetful character, but he brings so much to it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I'm going. Like, it was so easy to go Henry Cavill as Superman, because I think he does do a fantastic job of battling the line of Superman and Clark.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to go with the easy answer. I'm going to go with Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Because, as you said, she's not Mary Jane from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. She's not the damsel in distress that needs to be saved every time. She goes out, she helps Clark, she works with him, and they work together to find out a way to stop Zod. It's a team effort. Her plans and his strength and his ability to let the plan into, or to put the plan into effect. Without her, Clark wouldn't have come up with that idea to stop Zod. She's somebody who is badass. She's tough. She's somebody who can fight her own battles. And it's great to see that.
Yeah, for sure. And Amy Adams is top tier. She's one of the best working actresses today. So you put her in a role like this.
Man,
you put her in a role like this where she's given so much to do. I mean, she's gonna knock out the park 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
And I do, and like we said, I do like the fact that she is not the unknowing girlfriend of Superman. She has no clue. Like, I like that they don't do that to her.
She immediately goes out and is like, no, I'm going to find out who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
And she does the research, and she ends up finding out who Superman is.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100%. She's great. She's great in the movie. All right, let's go ahead and get to favorite scenes, and we'll go ahead and start with you this time.
All right, so I talked about the scene beforehand. I'm going with the Pa Kent death scene.
That's a good one.
How it affects the overall movie and Clark as a character, and 2, just the whole meaning behind it. Like, again, in Superman the movie, it was good because it's something that Clark couldn't stop.
Mm-hmm.
It was a heart attack. Happens to a lot of people. But what's great about this one is it's something he could have stopped.
Yeah.
It's something that, when a parent or a loved one dies, subconsciously you start blaming yourself. Even if you had nothing to do with you. Clark has to live with the fact that he could have saved his father. And it would have been easy. No one would have saw it. But it was his father's last wish. And they built up Kevin Costner's Pa Kent as somebody who would literally die to save his son from being experimented on, being, hurt in some way by people wanting to use him as a weapon, using him for the wrong reasons. And he gave his life so his son could have a normal life. And that's completely noble.
So I will say about this scene, I do like the scene, but I do prefer the heart attack. I think it's a lesson that's important to the Superman lore and to Superman as a person, as a human being, not just as a Kryptonian, but as a human being, that there are things in this world you can't stop. There are things in this world that are out of your hands. I understand where you're coming from with this scene. It does make it where Clark kind of has to learn, I have to make tough choices. Yeah. And sometimes those tough choices are going to be hard to live with. and that I get that 100%.
That even comes back at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. He had a choice, an impossible choice that he had to make, and you do it does kind of set that scene up. But I do prefer the heart attack. I just feel like that's a lesson that he probably still has yet to learn, that there are some things in this world that he cannot stop, that he will. I mean, again, that are out of his hands.
It's just a personal thing to me, but I completely understand why someone would prefer the heart attack, because that Clark couldn't stop it. To me, what makes this one better, in my opinion, is it's the fact that Clark had to watch, and he knew he could do something about it, but his father didn't want him to.
Yeah, it's a hard scene. It's a hard scene to watch, when you see what he has to do, and like that, he's just as heroic as Clark. You can see where he gets it from. That not all things are genetic, some things are learned. And I think that's where he learned to be the kid that he was, but the kind of person that jumps immediately into action and has to save people. Because Lois Lane actually said it to him when he was like, what can I do to get you to leave me alone? To bury this story. And she tells him, I can bury it, but I can only bury it as long as, the only way that this will stay gone forever is if you stop saving people. And she tells him, but I have this feeling that you can't do that.
But also,
that's not even an option.
The scene before the Pa Kent death scene is really good too, because it's not a happy scene. He tells Pa Kent, like, he goes off on him. He's like, you're not my father. Like, I don't have to listen to you. And the fact that was the last conversation he had. He really didn't get to tell his father he loves him and thank you for what you did. And it's that thing of, you wish you had one more day to say everything you wanted to say to a person who passed away.
Yeah, man. And that's life. I mean, there's many people who have to go through that, of what their last words to their loved ones are, and Superman has that human aspect where he's just like everybody else. We all say things that we regret, and he's as human as you can get, man. No matter where he comes from, and that's an important thing about Superman. All right, my favorite scene is the infamous neck snap. The neck snap heard around the world.
Because I got every Superman fan in the world up on their Twitters, high horse, saying Superman doesn't kill people.
And you know what? I thought I liked this scene forever, but my girlfriend told me after we watched it that apparently when I first saw it, I didn't enjoy this. I didn't like it. I was a comic book purist. I said that's not what Superman does. He doesn't kill. Sitting on my ivory tower, basically, of my comic book ivory tower of like, that's not Superman, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I have such an appreciation for this scene. And the crux of this scene stands on that scream that Henry Cavill gives. If that isn't done perfectly, this scene doesn't work to me. It doesn't. It looks like, he's he's a cold-blooded killer. He didn't even care. Like, no, and that's not. I know people always go to, that's him screaming because he killed the last the last person of Krypton. He's the only one. No, he in my mind, that's not why he's screaming. He's screaming because no one should ever have to know what it feels like to take a life.
And this is the first life that Clark has ever taken.
Yeah, and I think that he had to go through that in order to become the Superman that we know and love. Of the Superman that does always try to find another way. He's not just gonna and to learn that, and that's what we need to find out, that this Clark isn't going to become a unbeatable god who wants to take over the world. Like, he shows that he is human deep down. He doesn't have the capacity to kill, and I genuinely think he'll never. This iteration of Superman will probably never kill again, because of the pain that he felt after this, that's all portrayed in that one scream. And also, I mean, Zod said never. He said he was never going to stop him, and he wasn't. I believe 100%.
He pretty much said, if you don't kill me right now, I am going to kill every single person on Earth until you finally do.
Yeah, and Superman, like I said, he had to make an impossible decision. And I think, like you said, Jonathan Kitt kind of prepared him for that, to have to make that impossible decision. So I guess our scenes kind of go hand in hand.
That's a great scene. And what I love about it is, as you said, the scream really makes it effective. Because he didn't just snap his neck and then, walk off.
Yeah.
And because if he did that, then it'd be like, no, dude, you're a killer. Yeah, you had to do it, but you're showing no emotion towards it. And the fact that this is Clark's first kill, and it's somebody that is from his home planet. And it's, again, an impossible decision he has to make on his own. He doesn't have Pocket. He doesn't have Jor-El. He has nobody. This is the first decision he has to make pretty much all by himself because he's had Jor-El in his head kind of guiding him the way. This is the first time he doesn't have it. Yeah,
man. It's a great scene. Greatly acted by both Michael Shannon and Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
So before we head out, I do want to give a special nod to Hans Zimmer for the soundtrack of this film.
The score is so good.
The score is amazing. I might put this above the Superman theme. I like from the original film. I love this score.
Wow,
this music in this movie is fantastic, dude.
You're gonna get a lot of hate on that one, man.
Come at me. I don't care. I love this music. Hans Zimmer is an amazing composer. I'm not saying that he's better than John Williams by any means of the imagination, but this to me, I think I could listen to this score a little more than I could listen to the John Williams score. I'm not saying the John Williams score isn't great also, but this one just has a different feel to it.
Yeah.
It just has a different feel. And the scene where he flies for the first time is a work of art.
It's so good. All right, Alex, are you ready for overrated, underrated, or perfectly rated?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get the reveal. What is it?
Drum roll, please.
Everybody, let's go.
56%. Why?
Wildly underrated.
Underrated, yeah.
This movie should be at about an 80.
I agree.
And 80, 82, 83%, man. Like this movie is so good. I think, and I think this has actually been a discussion point for Rotten Tomatoes, is that people have to put out their reviews so quickly after the movie. They're not really given any time to digest the film. Yeah, and so people go in, they have their expectations, they don't meet them, and they put out a bad review. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and look at this.
The audience score, I believe, is in the 70s.
The audience score is 75, which I think is still a little underrated, but I'm more comfortable with that than a 56.
Not gonna lie, I prefer this one to Superman the movie.
Me too. I would probably watch this. I would probably watch this movie more times than I would rewatch Superman the movie.
Yeah. All right, so I'll take the negatives and take the positives.
I had a few. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but we'll read the just the main part that's there. So you want to go ahead and go first with the negative?
Yes. I'll do one, and this one I completely disagree with. From Jason Bailey.
Yeah.
Snyder is an adrenaline junkie forever, jousting for a fix. He does less building to the action beats than backing each one into the next. I completely disagree. There are a lot of moments in this movie that are not just action scenes. You've got the great father and son connection between both Clark, between Clark and both his fathers, Jor-El and Pa Kent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you on this one. This is a crazy take. This is not just the action. Once the action gets started, yes, it's very, very much just go pedal to the metal type thing. But you have so much world building getting up to that scene when the action does start. And you get little bits in between too. So I this is a crazy take, but he's allowed to have it. I'll go with a positive one. This one's from our favorite, Chris Stuckman from
The
ChrisStuckman.com. Yes, get Stuckmanized. He says Clark's multiple father and son tales are beautifully realized, and it's a very fun movie to watch. He does say, however, the romance is shallow. I can see that take.
I agree with that one.
Yeah. I can see that. I would have preferred if that her and that Lois and Clark probably don't really start to mesh and meld with each other until about BVS.
Yeah, it seems rushed to me, and that's the thing I will say. The romance does seem rushed, but I love the honor chemistry between the two of them.
Yeah, they have fire chemistry together.
This one is a super petty negative review. Mara Reinstein from US Weekly writes, no fun costume changes in the phone booth, no wowing humans with his powers, and no repartee with reporter Lois Lane.
Yeah.
So in this modern day Superman movie, you want a fucking costume change in a phone booth?
Yeah, that's like saying you want. Oh my god, that's like saying you want.
We've had for years.
That's ridiculous. That's someone that just didn't have an actual take and just wrote something crazy. All right, I have this one from Yasir Medina, which is for cinema aficionados. It's Zack Snyder makes his film more human, more emotional, more heroic than any other Superman adaptation on the big screen. Those are big words, but I might agree. This is my favorite Superman adaptation.
I do like this one from this is a positive review from Josh Wadling from comicbookmovie.com. He says, it may not have lived up to the hype, but Man of Steel is still the best modern Superman movie. Well worth checking out, even if the screenplay delivers its fair share of disappointments. Still, it feels like a solid opening chapter from Zack Snyder.
Yeah, and that's true to me. I think this is what made me excited for the DCEU because of this film. Even though you do get that feel that Zack Snyder loves his long movies, he did probably cut out a lot of stuff, and we don't feel it any more than we do in the next installment, which is BVS. That movie it's already about 2.5 hours, BVS, but when you watch the ultimate cut, and I don't really necessarily enjoy that original one, the first one I watched it, but when you get the ultimate cut, it's so much better. It's just cut differently.
That's one that we're definitely gonna have to review one day.
And when we do, I'll probably end up watching both. Like I'll watch the theatrical cut, and then
I will too, so we can compare them.
Yeah, so that'll be that might have to be a later on down the line type of film. But all right, man, you want to go ahead and get ready to review the film for next week? I'm excited for this one.
Oh yes, because you messaged me and said that this movie came out on March 4th, which will be our next week's episode.
Yeah. So I looked it up.
Zootopia, a movie that I haven't seen, but I've been excited to watch.
Disney Animation's Zootopia. I've watched bits and pieces of this movie. Have not sat down and watched it 100%. I cannot wait to dive into this film. I've heard so many great things.
The film theory on this one, but
so did I. Now that's gonna be weird. If that, I hope that doesn't impact the way we watch the film. Or maybe it'll help. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, for next week,
Judy Hopps is clearly selling cocaine, right?
Judy Hopps? No, she's not. I don't think she's selling cocaine.
That was the theory.
I know that it was about the crack cocaine conspiracy of
I thought the theory was that the
that was the draw. That was like what he like. That was like the joke. The main crux of it was it's about the crack cocaine conspiracy of like the government putting crack into the ghettos and stuff like that.
You're right.
Yeah, because remember, we're not gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it next week when we do Zootopia, Disney Animations. If you want to watch the film before we do it next week, it is on Disney Plus. We'll try and make sure we do that every week, where we tell you where we're gonna watch the film every week. And then next week we'll have the next film. So please check us out next week around 8, 9 o'clock. One of those. It's always gonna be around that time. It's kind of a little bit easier. Hey, Bruce, boy, thanks, man, for joining us.
You guys are amazing, guys. You guys will love the film. Animation is so good, and I love Jason Bateman.
I love Jason Bateman too. Can't go wrong. All right, Bruce, thank you for joining us. I hope you join us next week for that episode. I'll make sure to send you a link personally because I do have you as a friend on Facebook.
I do too.
So I'll send it to you. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for joining us for Sinister's Movie Night. I'm Sinister Alec Miller. That's the Hitman Hunter Chambers. And we will see you guys next week.